So we're going out on the video chat right now to join one of the most popular Rough Rider figures in the franchise's history. I don't think that I'm over-exaggerating that. Kenton Keith joins us this morning. 3.5 seasons with the Riders, couple in the National Football League, then the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and KK's with us today. Good morning, Kenton. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Rod? Long time no see, man.
Far too long. So are you hooking up with us in Nebraska this morning, or where do we find you at?
I'm actually in Austin, Texas. That's where I'm based at right now.
How are things in Austin, Texas? Is it hotter than Campfire Chili down there?
Oh yeah, it stays hot down here. That's one of the reasons I like it here, man. For my business, year-round fitness. So it's a great place to be.
Ken, you've been doing that for a while now, a few years, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me how. I know this fitness thing and fitness coaching in the States is just taken off like a rocket. What are you doing in the industry?
I'm just pretty much teaching my own craft. Throughout my career as a football player, I've always took responsibility of training myself and any of the other guys that were, in my vicinity. So I've created my own program through, being a pro athlete, being injured, also being a fitness trainer at places like Valley Total Fitness, and just combining that whole thing and morphing it into my own program.
We know how big football is in Texas. Let me ask you this. When you're meeting people, talking to them, how big of a deal is it? Not just that you played for the Colts, I see the helmet on the wall, and the Jets, but also the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They know who the Riders are down there, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I think every year the Saskatchewan Roughriders, along with some of the other CFL teams, come down here, if not in Houston or Dallas, a couple times a year to do workouts. So a lot of the guys that are pursuing football, trying to get in football, usually know about the camps or anything like that. So it's always something that I prepare some of the guys that come to me for. So, yeah, it's pretty popular.
We're asking our viewers.
Definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say definitely a lot more popular than when I was coming out to Saskatchewan. So the CFL as a whole, out here in America is just blowing up a lot, 3 times bigger since I started. You know what I mean?
So why do you think that is?
Social media has a big part of it. Definitely. I don't know, man. I just feel like the history of the CFL, it reaches more people every year. As you guys bring more Americans up there, there's a lot more word of mouth going on from guys that are playing, guys that are released, guys that are, aspiring to be there. So it's been around. I tell people all the time, it's been around longer than the NFL. So, of course, it's about time for it to touch the American soil, and be real popular. So that's what I see right now.
I agree. Been around twice as long as the NFL. Most people wouldn't believe that. We got questions coming in on the Facebook feed from our viewers for you. I just got one for you, and that is, when you think of your time here, Kenton, what do you think of?
I'd say, as far as my life, that was probably one of the funnest times of my life, being in Saskatchewan, young guy, first time being a professional athlete, showcasing my talent on the big screen. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot and I grew a lot. So I guess I would say maturing is the word I would say from my time in Saskatchewan.
Ken Kowski writing us on the Facebook wall. He says, question for KK, what was your favorite memory as a Rough Rider?
My favorite memory as a Rough Rider, I would have to say almost every Calgary game I played in.
Yes.
No, but the Western semifinals of 2003, I believe, against Winnipeg, when I first kind of, to me, put my name on the map as the style of running back that I was trying to bring to the table. Coming in after Cedric Shaw, I think it was the playoffs, and I had something like 3 or 4 touchdowns, and never had played the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the time, and they were like ranked number 1 in defense or something like that. But that was the first time I really got to understand, what it was being a professional athlete. I've always felt like I had the talent, but after that, the cameras were in my face. People were trying to do interviews. Autographs were being, signed everywhere. And people don't know that I'm a real introvert. So some of that stuff was hard for me to deal with. But it took some getting used to. And I just feel like that game was the game that kind of jumped me to where my career left off at.
These guys got a couple for you too, but I remember we had more yards rushing that game than passing, KK, if you remember. Nealon was probably kissing your feet after the game. And that was one of the best Winnipeg teams ever. That was a huge upset to go in there, and that was a fun night. Darren, what do you got for Kenton Keith?
Yeah, I mean, you played with the Riders, played with the Colts. Obviously, we know there's differences between the leagues, the show, the crowds, the money. But, how similar did you find the Canadian Football League? What similarities were there between the CFL and the NFL for you?
Similarities, huh?
Like, was there that big of a difference with with your game on the field?
As a running back, I would say that's probably one of the positions where the CFL and NFL will be kind of similar. Besides the spacing of the defensive line versus the offensive line, I think CFL you get a yard, and NFL you can be right on the ball, right? So other than that, as a running back, everything was real similar, man. Especially being in the CFL, how fast the guys were, it really prepared me for going to the NFL. I think it would have been worse if I went to the NFL first and went to the CFL second. I wouldn't have been able to adjust as easy as I did going from the CFL to the NFL. And I think that's what a lot of guys don't understand. Like, just because you had a name in the NFL, just because you're this certain person in the NFL, that does not carry over to the CFL. You have to be a totally different type of back. I can only speak for backs. You got to be a totally different kind of back because there are different angles. There's a different timing factor. The home run points that I call them are in different spots of the field. Especially having that one guy extra on defense makes a lot of difference too. So,
Kenton, before I was a broadcaster, I was a season ticket holder in Section 27, and my first jersey was a Kenton Keith jersey.
Nice.
So it's nice to catch up with you, but I want to know about your return to the CFL with Hamilton. What was that experience like, and was it, because you had your Saskatchewan experience, and I imagine it was a positive one. Did you want to come back to Saskatchewan at that time, and how different was it to go to Hamilton, and how that worked out?
At the time, I did want to go back to Saskatchewan. I think they had different plans, but that's where I ultimately wanted to go. I never wanted to play for anybody else, but once that door was kind of closed, once I kind of figured out they were going a different way, I was open to going to Hamilton, especially because Coach Marcel was there, so I had a little taste of Saskatchewan still. But Hamilton is just a different place. I was used to, when you say the CFL, that meant Saskatchewan to me. When you say Saskatchewan, that was all I knew in the CFL. So to go to Hamilton was a whole different world for me. Like I said, I feel like I grew as a man in Saskatchewan, so that was almost home for me. My wife and my son are from Saskatchewan, so it was an adjustment for me to really put on that yellow and black versus that green, man, and switch my numbers. You know what I mean? So, but I think I handled it pretty well. Unfortunately, I got hurt and wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. But I think that I was, if I was able to stay healthy, I think I would have had a nice career finishing off in Hamilton.
You mentioned your ties to Saskatchewan. I know you do get back here from time to time. Have you been in the new facility? And if so, what are your thoughts?
I actually haven't. I haven't been to Saskatchewan, I don't think, since 2016. I do plan on coming up there. Got to get my passport again. It's expired. So, but that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I haven't been yet. But we plan on coming up there. And my wife asks me every time when I go to Saskatchewan, what are my top favorite things that I got to do? And I always tell her, I got to go to Mr. Breakfast. I got to go to the stadium. And I got to go to Tappanyakis.
Oh, it's so outstanding. I was just driving it. But they need by the other day. It needs a new sign, though. It's getting a little faded. What do you got, Taylor?
I have one more. I want to ask if Frontline has been in the studio doing any recordings lately, and if you guys are going to release anything.
No, but me, I'm still an artist. I don't really do a whole lot right now, but I do still have a nice catalog of music that I listen to for myself. I think Nealon is dabbling in some music. We kind of reconnected over social media these last couple months, but I don't know what about Shantae Peoples, man. I haven't heard about him in a while. I doubt if he's doing anything like that, but no, Frontline is done, man.
Do you guys,
was a nice.
You were ahead of your time. You were ahead of your time, Ken. Go ahead, Taylor.
Do you guys still talk? Do you still talk to some of your teammates? Neil and Green, you just said you connected, but do you guys talk about the glory days of playing with the Riders? Are you still friends with any of those guys?
Yeah, we do. We talk. Me, more of my circle was more of like, Nealon Green, Santino Hall. I still talk to Reggie Hunt. Emery Beckles. You guys remember Emery Beckles?
Little homie.
Yeah,
That was his nickname here, Little Homie. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I hooked up with Lamar Lee when I went out to Tampa Bay too. So anytime that we can connect, we usually try to connect and let each other. We're near each other. So and then at that point, we try to take care of each other if somebody's in your neighborhood. So.
Speaking of connecting, where in Houston or Dallas are you?
He's in Austin.
You're in Austin. How far is that from
Austin,
Houston?
Texas.
It's a long ways.
Okay. We're coming to
About
Houston.
2.5 hours.
Well, that's not far.
Well, in Saskatchewan terms, it's not far. Is that big? Is that a long ways in Texas terms?
2 hours driving is 2 hours driving. So
Same
to
as
me,
here.
That's not that far.
Yeah, it's not.
I used to drive 29 hours to Saskatchewan, so I can do that.
That's true. Well, we're coming down there with a sports trip, KK, in December and doing a couple of these shows down there. So we'll be in touch. I just want to ask you this: when you do come back, I know you're recognized on the street. Do you like that, or do you not like that? That Rider fans still remember you and they still talk about you to this day, which I would have to think feels good because it's in glowing terms. But if you're recognized on the street, would you just say, don't bother me, or would you like it?
No, I think the people that know me and that see me usually know that, when they see me, I'll sit down and talk. I'm very humble. I'm down to earth. So sometimes I do a lot more than a lot of football players would do for people. So the people that know me and that has ran across me know that. So I'm always open to it, man. I know how it feels to be a fan. So I would never hold nothing back from keeping a fan from, having a chance to ask whatever they want to ask or get an autograph or speak to me. So I'm pretty good with that.
Well, doing this interview was a major plus. I know you put a smile on a lot of people's faces just watching it. So, Kenton, thanks for this, and keep in touch, and continued success. You look great.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
You bet. Kenton Keith from Austin, Texas, the home of Vince Young these days, by the way. Should ask him if he ever runs into VY down there. Kenton, for those younger viewers, I don't want to make him feel old. He's only 38, but it seemed like he was here longer than what he was. Right, gents?
Yeah. Big impact.
Yeah.
Good time, not a long time.
Well, what is he, number 5 all time?
Yeah, so Roy Shivers found him, no doubt, out of college, obviously. Was it New Mexico State?
Yeah,
I believe.
Sounds like it.
And came to the Riders in 03, spent one season, and boom, was in the NFL with the league, in the league with the Jets in 04. And then back here 04 to 06, then to the Colts for one season in Indy, and then to the Ticats in 08-09, as you brought up, which I actually forgot about.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Didn't they always say back then, once you leave the Riders, your career goes... Not necessarily.
It's happened to a lot of people.
It's happened to a lot of
The
guys.
grass isn't always greener.
Although he did play really well with the Colts.
Yes.
Short, but
Yeah.
he played.
He's
He,
returning kicks there, right?
well, and he was running the ball, too. He
was
had
running
an
it.
impact.
Well, he's doing both.
He worked his way up the depth chart for sure. But then, he got hurt in Hamilton. And
Two-time All-Star, West Division Most Outstanding Player in 2006, Kenton Keith, joining us this morning from Austin, Texas.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.